Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Energetic Shift podcast. Today's episode I have been wanting to talk about for a little while. And obviously, as always, it's always related to some kind of live happening that's either conversations that I'm having with my clients or things that are coming up because, I go through them all, right? And all of these things, I always think to myself, I need to put that on a podcast. I need to talk about this because so many other women are experiencing these feelings. And today's episode is no different to most, right? And I'm always real, I'm always raw, and I want to talk about rest and not like work-life balance because there's so many different nuances to the work-life balance. I want to talk about why rest feels unsafe for us. So why the moment like things slow down or you take a day off or you dare to just be, something inside of you goes completely into panic mode. And why for women who especially grew up with nothing, rest isn't just uncomfortable, it can feel like an actual threat. So I want to get into that a little bit. So let me paint you a picture, right? You've had a really good month, money's coming in, clients are happy, things are flowing, and someone says to you, you should take a few days off, you've earned it. And instead of feeling relief, you feel dread. Your brain immediately goes to like, what if it stops? What if I take my foot off the pedal? What if everything falls apart? What if I lose momentum? What if people forget about me? What if it's a fluke and I need to keep going to see if it works? Because this might not last. And so you don't rest, or you've got poorly, or you're just not feeling it for whatever reason. You feel a little bit exhausted, you're not slept very well, you're perimenopausal, or you've had an argument with your husband, or whatever it could be, like something that's just not making you feel great. And I give this advice to my clients all the time, like take a day off, like rest, like, and what I mean is I don't mean take a day off your business, because I really, truly do believe that like when your business is an extension of you, there's no days off, so to speak, in inverted commas. It's more of take a day off the stress that you put on yourself to keep going. Take a day off, the pressure and stress that you put on yourself to make sure that you're doing the things and you're being super productive, etc. Nothing's going to happen. You're not going to die if you just lay down for a day or you watch Netflix for a day or, you spend some time doing everything other than the productive things on your business for a week, right? Nothing's going to happen. And your brain immediately goes into that like fear and panic that you might not, get the momentum back, etc. And so you don't rest and you keep going and you push through and you work on, all of the days at all of the times, and you check your phone when you're on holiday and you feel guilty every time you're not being productive. And I know that will sound familiar to a lot of you. And this can feel like it's a discipline problem. And you'll hear that, coaches out there that are saying like you've got a discipline problem and you need to have more work ethic, and that's the problem. And it's a mindset problem and all of the controversial shite, right? And it's actually none of those things. It's a nervous system problem. It's rooted in where you came from, generally. The thing about growing up without that financial security, without stability, without the safety net of what some people just have, and without knowing that it's okay to take that day off, to rest, to not have to earn money or do something to earn money every single day, it can feel really, really daunting. When there's not enough money, you can't afford to slow down, right? When life is unpredictable, you stay alert. When things feel uncertain, and they always felt uncertain when, if you've grown up around not having much, you keep moving because movement feels like control. And when you're controlling things, you feel better and like you've got more, you can direct it more. Movement feels like you're doing something, and movement feels like you're not going to let it all fall apart. And that wiring doesn't care that you're not there anymore, that you're not a child anymore, that you're now a grown adult with a business and an income and completely different life. It was built when you were young, when you were vulnerable, and when you genuinely needed to just survive. So now when you try to rest, really rest, not just collapse from exhaustion or burnout, but consciously choose to stop, your nervous system reads this as a threat. It's unfamiliar, or it taps back into the last time you sat down, the last time you rested, the last time you weren't in control, let's say. for a long time, it was a threat. Resting was a threat. I grew up in a council estate. Money was always tight. You know, I watched adults around me work constantly, not because they loved their fucking work either, but because they had to. They had no choice. Because stopping meant things didn't get paid. Because there was no buffer, no safety net, no it'll be fine. And obviously, as a child, you absorb all of that. I became someone who equated busyness to safety, productivity with worth, constant output with, you know, being okay. And if I stopped any of that, I was lazy. I actually got told by my dad that I was lazy, you know, for wanting a day off, for needing a rest. That was built into me. And then I built a business, which, by the way, rewards that behavior in the short term because hustle does work, right? For a while until it doesn't. And I've been there and I've done the hustle. My first business 12 years ago was I was a hustler. I was ignorance on fire. I just did. Like I just did all of the work and none of the rest. And even when I started making real money, even when the safety net actually existed, I still couldn't stop because my body didn't believe it was real. My nervous system was still waiting for it all to disappear. I'd take a day off and spend a whole day feeling anxious and guilty and lazy. And not because anything was wrong, but because rest felt like I was tempting fate, like I was getting too comfortable, like if I stopped watching what was happening, it would all fall apart, right? And I know that I'm not the only one that feels like this or has felt like this. There's also something else going on underneath this feeling that I really want to talk about too, and like just approach. A lot of women who grew up with nothing have a complicated relationship with receiving. Rest is a form of receiving, and I was heavily in my masculine and my doing and my control for many years, and I had a spiritual awakening probably about 10 years ago that gave me that like sign that I needed to step more into my feminine, more into my receiving, more into my surrendering and letting things go. And when you're in, you know, when you're resting and you're in that receiving mode, you're receiving time, you're receiving ease, you're receiving the fruits of your work, right? Without immediately turning it into more work. And if you were never taught that you were allowed to receive, if the message you got growing up was that you had to earn everything, justify your existence, always be useful, never be a burden, then receiving obviously will feel wrong to you. Rest feels like a luxury, selfish, lazy, like you haven't quite earned it. There's always one thing to do before you deserve to stop, right? That's what we tell ourselves. I'll just do this and then I'll sit down. One more client, one more launch, one more income milestone, one more goal hit. And the goalposts keep moving because the truth is we're never really at the goal, and it's never really about the goal either. They were, you know, and the goalposts keep moving because the truth is they were never really about the goal. They were about this feeling that if you just do enough, you'll finally feel safe enough to stop. But you won't. Not until you deal with the actual thing, which isn't the to-do list. It's the belief that you have to earn the right to exist. And can we talk about guilt for a fucking second, right? Because this is a massive thing for women who come from working class backgrounds or difficult starts in life. There can be this real deep guilt about having a life that's easier than the one you grew up in. So many different reasons. And even having this conversation and talking about this like so publicly and openly, I still have that pang of guilt of like, what would my mum do? Because I didn't have a bad upbringing. It wasn't bad. Like it was less fortunate than I would have liked and less fortunate than I have now and that my children have. So like the guilt comes, you know, of now having this life that I didn't have growing up, about having choices that my parents didn't have. And almost like enjoying the ease of your life is a betrayal of where you come from. And listen, I will never fucking forget where I come from. I'm actually really proud of the evolution, but it doesn't mean that I am hating on where I came from, not by any means of the imagination. I felt this like genuinely sitting in a beautiful place, doing something I love, feeling guilty about it, not because anything was wrong, but because some part of me felt like I didn't deserve it. Like I've been there, I felt it. Or like enjoying it was disrespectful to the struggle, right? But what I've come to understand over the years is you didn't build a better life to feel guilty about it. You built it to actually live it. And you resting, receiving, enjoying what you've created. This is not a betrayal of where you came from. It's the whole fucking point, right? Here's the other thing. It actually makes your business better. Resting, receiving, space, capacity, all of it makes your business better. When you're running on empty, when you are in constant go mode, when your nervous system is permanently in fight or flight or switched on, you are not creative. You are not making good decisions, and you are not attracting the right clients to you. You are just surviving, keeping your head above the water. And you cannot build something expansive from a survival state, right? Some of my best ideas come when I've stepped away, when I'm laid in the bath, when I'm in a hot tub at a spa, when I'm walking with the dog. Some of my most aligned decisions have been made after I've properly rested. Some of my biggest income periods have followed intentional rest rather than like day after day after day after day, pushing, pushing, hustling, hustling. Because when you're regulated, when you're resourced, when you're actually feeling good, everything flows differently. Your content is better, your energy on calls is better, your ideas are better, your capacity expands. Rest is not the opposite of productivity. It's what makes real productivity possible. And we are so taught in the external world, in the society, that it's wrong, it's bad. Like you have to work Monday to Friday, 5 days to get 2 days off, or 6 days even now in the world that we will live in to get 1 day off. So I'm going to give you some things that you can actually do with this. Like the first thing I want you to think about is like just notice it. Notice what happens to your body when you stop. Notice the thoughts that come up. Notice the guilt, the panic, the restlessness. Don't judge it, just observe it, because you can't change what you haven't become aware of or noticed. So I just want you to tap into that awareness. Second thing, I want you to start small. If full rest feels impossible, if having a day off, whatever feels possible, don't go, full like 0 to a week off. Start with an afternoon or an hour. Start with a morning even, like where you don't check your phone, where you just go for a walk without consuming anything and just being with yourself. Start with something so small like a bath with, no phone, no nothing, like, or a book, like just literally laying and doing nothing, or even just having watching an episode of Married at First Sight or Love is Blind or whatever your guilty pleasure is. Something where nobody needs you, nothing needs you. You don't need to be productive in any way, shape, or form. You can just exist. Thirdly, reframe what rest means to you. Rest is not laziness. Rest is not giving up. Rest is not falling behind. Rest is maintenance. Rest is investment. Rest is you treating yourself like something worth looking after, which you are, by the way, in case you didn't know that. Next thing, separate your worth from the output. This one is the deeper work, right? The belief that you have to earn rest, that you have to deserve ease, that your value is in productivity. That is the thing to keep unpicking in your journaling, in your coaching, in your conversations with yourself, because you were worthy before the business. You will be worthy on your worst week. Your output does not define your value. And then lastly, let yourself have a good life. Actually fucking have it. Have what you've built. Not just talk about it, actually live in it, rest in it, enjoying it. Because you didn't come this far to spend your whole life running from the version of yourself who didn't have it. The hustle that got you here may have been necessary, may have been brave, may have been doing what you had to do. But the version of you that you're building towards, the one who has the freedom, the income, the impact, the beautiful life, she's not running scared. She is not white knuckling her fucking way through every week. She is not consistently looking over her shoulder waiting for it all to disappear. She rests, she receives, she's in her feminine. She trusts, she's connected, and she trusts that she's built the real thing, and it's hers and it's not going anywhere, and it's super aligned. You get to be her now. It's a choice. You don't have to do any more to get there. You can choose to be her now. You've already done enough to deserve the rest, babe. Sit the fuck down. See you next week.